In New York, the city lights were shining, people were rushing through the streets, and the sounds of car horns filled the air. This was actually the usual state of the city, but something felt different tonight. An invisible yet palpable threat lingered on every corner. As the city stepped closer to chaos, two individuals were not moving to control it, but rather to stoke the flames. Deadpool was bouncing across the rooftops of old buildings in his red and black costume. As he watched the city, he popped his gum and talked to himself. All right, Wade, what craziness can I get into tonight? Beat up a few criminals? Maybe we'll take a pizza break. No, that would be too ordinary. Tonight, something different. I can feel it, more insanity than ever. His instincts were telling him that a big show was approaching. Just then, a bright green smoke was rising into the sky in front of him. This smoke brought only one person to mind, the creator of chaos and madness, the Joker. As he continued moving forward, he saw the words "Joker was here" written in large letters on the building across from him, and he was completely sure. He squinted and thought, awesome! Our Uncle Anarchy is on stage. This is definitely going to be more fun. Before long, Deadpool made his way to the site of the explosion. When he arrived at the blast zone, there was massive chaos in the heart of New York. People were fleeing in all directions. Police sirens were blaring on one side, and smoke was rising from the crumbling buildings on the other. But the most interesting thing was that right in the middle of the scene, amid the scattered chaos, someone was laughing. The Joker. The Joker, in his usual purple suit, was looking around with chaotic elegance, drawing all attention with his piercing laughter. He was twirling his cane in the air, moving like an orchestra conductor. Right in front of him stood Deadpool, watching all of this with his hands on his hips, looking bewildered. Wait, Deadpool said, scratching his head. Did we suddenly become Gotham? Because something's going on here in New York, and I should definitely be the craziest guy in the city. Hearing Deadpool's voice, the Joker turned his head and looked at him. Ah, here's another performer who loves to disrupt order, just like me. The Joker greeted Deadpool with his cane. Welcome to the madness of New York, masked man. I guess you want to have some fun. Deadpool didn't hold back from replying to the Joker's comment with humor. Fun? Ha, I thought you were crazy, but I never imagined you could be more entertaining than me. He then drew his sword and gave a slight bow toward him. So shall we set some rules before we kick off the fun? For example, are we having a contest to see who can shock more people? The Joker laughed heartily, saying, Rules? Oh no, my dear friend. We're here to break the rules. Just chaos, just fun. What do you say we make the city our stage tonight? As the two crazy minds looked at each other, it felt like the fate of the city was momentarily in their hands. Deadpool's humor-filled yet dangerous nature, combined with the Joker's unstable and ruthless mentality, had already signaled the onset of great chaos in the streets. Wade took a thoughtful step closer to the Joker. Look, let me tell you something. I usually like to roll solo, but you're different, my clown friend. I love chaos just like you, but with a bit more style. What do you think? How about we team up for a while? As the Joker squinted his eyes and looked at Deadpool, a sly smile spread across his face. Ah, what a wonderful idea, my dear friend. Together we can create wonders, because New York doesn't yet know what true anarchy really is. Deadpool, mockingly sheathing his sword in response to the Joker's acceptance of his proposal, made a grand gesture with his hand and said, All right, Mr. Clown, the city is ours tonight. Let's see who can create more chaos. Then he suddenly became serious. But I have one condition, pizza break. No matter how good the chaos is, I can't work on an empty stomach. The Joker laughed heartily. Deal. Explosions are much more effective after pizza. And so began the partnership of two lunatics. A night filled with chaos, violence, and humor awaited them. Anyone who crossed paths with Deadpool and the Joker would have to witness the destruction wrought by these two mental horrors. The city streets were about to become the playground for these two crazy men, and nothing would ever be the same again. Their first stop was Times Square, one of the busiest spots in the city. The lights, screens, and the panicked escape of people made the square the perfect stage for the Joker's madness. Deadpool spun around with his arms wide open in the middle of the square. This is just the kind of place to blow up. How loud are your explosions, clown? The Joker pulled a small bomb from his pocket, showing it to Deadpool with a wink. I think it's time to give it a try. He tossed the bomb toward Deadpool. Deadpool immediately caught the bomb in midair and looked around before throwing it into an empty building. The explosion created such a massive echo that the windows and light panels surrounding the square shattered and smoke billowed from the giant screens. People were screaming and fleeing in panic. Deadpool placed his hands on top of his head and watched the explosion for a while. Wow, that was an amazing explosion. The Joker, meanwhile, had collapsed to the ground in laughter, holding his head with his hands. Fantastic, fantastic, a true masterpiece. But this was just the beginning. As the duo continued to create chaos in the square, the police forces quickly began to arrive on the scene. Armored vehicles, SWAT teams, and helicopters started hovering overhead. The smile on the Joker's face grew even wider. Look, they've sent us a small army. I didn't think it would be this much fun. As a SWAT vehicle approached, Deadpool pulled out his swords and looked around. So, I thought the fun was just getting started. How about we teach these guys a little lesson in fighting, huh? Against the heavily armored units emerging from the police vehicles, Deadpool advanced with a humorous and carefree attitude. Swinging his swords rapidly, he took down several armored soldiers with each move. Look, guys, I get it. You're doing your job, but you really need to drop your weapons. Like right now, he yelled, taking one of them down. Meanwhile, the Joker was throwing poisonous gas bombs around. When a SWAT team rushed into the gas cloud, they immediately began to collapse to the ground in fits of crazy laughter. Ah, a little laughter never hurt anyone, the Joker shouted, lightly tapping the fallen soldiers with his cane. Deadpool rolled his eyes when he appeared next to the Joker. Okay, are these guys going to die laughing? Because I'm not envisioning that kind of death. The Joker looked at Deadpool with a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. It might not be your style, but I think it's plenty entertaining. At that moment, the helicopters descended even lower, and snipers began to take their targets. The Joker continued to laugh as he watched the scene. I think we're going to make this night unforgettable, my friend. But I have an even bigger surprise. Just then, the Joker pointed to a large clock tower standing in the middle of Times Square. A digital countdown had started rapidly ticking down. When I say surprise, I don't mean an empty one. I've left a big bomb in the heart of the city. When it blows, who knows what will happen? Deadpool squinted at the clock tower. Are you serious? I mean, okay, chaos is good, but isn't this a bit much? The Joker's face showed wild delight. Too much? My dear friend, I'm a fan of everything that's too much. I want to level this city, and you're part of this game. Deadpool paused for a moment. The Joker's madness knew no bounds. This chaos was becoming uncontrollable. Wade, though he loved violence and madness, felt he was pushing his own limits at this point. Just as he was about to turn to the Joker and say, maybe we should take a break from this, the countdown suddenly stopped. Silence. At that final 0 second, there was no explosion. The Joker suddenly paused. No, how is this possible? He said, his eyes widening. Deadpool furrowed his brow and looked at the clock in the center of the square, asking, well, it's a bit cliche, but didn't it blow up? Just then, a voice echoed from another corner of the square. The fun is over, gentlemen. This voice quickly caught the attention of both Joker and Deadpool. Emerging from the shadows was a figure that seemed to cast a dark cloud over the square. This man walked slowly but surely, spreading unease around him. The laughter on the Joker's face froze. This is impossible, he whispered, because Batman had appeared. As Batman approached the center of the square, the fun for Joker and Deadpool began to give way to tension. The smile on Joker's face faded. Batman, how did he get here? He murmured, bewildered. Deadpool, still maintaining his nonchalant demeanor, twirled his swords. Oh, look who's here! Bat Guy, I always knew you were secretly following me. You've got quite a twisted obsession, I must say, but I admit, I'm not too bad myself. Deadpool playfully waved at Batman, stifling his laughter. Batman stood in the center of the square without saying a word, his piercing gaze focused on Joker and Deadpool. Suddenly, he drew a batarang from his belt and quickly threw it at the detonator in Joker's hand. The detonator shattered in midair, and terror flickered in Joker's eyes. "No, no, that's my bomb!" he screamed, staring at the pieces of the device that had fallen to the ground. Batman approached Joker, maintaining his composure. "This is the end of the line, Joker. The game is over," he said. Deadpool interjected, raising his hand. "Oh, it's not that easy, Mr. Deep Voice Man. Maybe that's how you handle things in Gotham. But this is New York. This is my turf, and I know how crazy Joker can get. But we should give the fun a little more time, don't you think?" Batman's gaze shifted to Deadpool. "Are you part of this too, Wade? There's something you're not aware of right now. This isn't just about the destruction of a city." Just then, Batman's expression darkened even further as he received a message from Alfred in his ear. "This isn't just a playground, Deadpool," he said. "The explosion Joker will create in this city will open a portal to a different dimension. That bomb will not only collapse the building, but will plunge the entire city and the world into chaos." Joker regained his laughter. "That's it. Batman always loves to make things tragic. It's not just an explosion, it's interdimensional madness. The true meaning of chaos." Deadpool suddenly paused. "Wait a minute. Dimensions? So the explosion will obliterate not just the building, but the entire universe?" He mumbled to himself. "Maybe this has gone a bit too far." Joker, noticing Deadpool's shock, grinned. "Yes, Wade, it's a blast big enough to unsettle even you. We're pushing the limits of chaos." Batman approached Deadpool and spoke quietly. "Wade, there's no turning back. If this interdimensional shift happens, Joker will plunge not just this world, but other universes into chaos." Deadpool suddenly became serious. "So what I'm saying is, if we ruin two worlds at once, who are we going to fight? If we end the fun this quickly, we won't have anyone to battle." Joker interjected, "This is just the beginning, Wade. Infinite fun in a world of endless possibilities." At that moment, Deadpool lowered his swords and moved closer to Joker. Okay. Let's make a deal. I love chaos, but interdimensional chaos is a bit much. I mean, it's fun, but also quite exhausting." Joker couldn't understand Deadpool's seriousness. "What do you mean? Are you going to betray me too?" Deadpool shrugged. I know. We're all in shock, but this time, it looks like we need to save a little life." He then turned to Batman. "What do we need to do, Batboy?" Batman answered without hesitation. "We need to disable Joker's bombs. We have very little time." Deadpool smiled as he looked into Joker's eyes. "I guess I'll be playing with Batman this time, Joker. Let's take a little break." "What do you say?" Joker let out a mad laugh. "A break? No breaks, Wade. Everything is about to end." Deadpool suddenly sprang into action, grabbing Joker's arm and throwing him aside. "Sorry, buddy, but I want to have more fun, and your explosion ruins everything." Joker fell to the ground, looking up at Deadpool with a mix of shock and anger. Batman quickly got to work, preparing his tools to disable the bombs while Deadpool began to survey the area. "Hey, Batman, after you take care of the explosives, you'll order me some fries, right?" Suddenly, Joker sprang to his feet and shouted, You are all just a joke!" He pulled out another small detonator from his pocket. "When everything is over, only I will win." Deadpool quickly lunged forward to grab the detonator, but Joker's move threw him off balance. Just as the explosion was about to happen, Batman sprang into action, leaping toward Deadpool and snatching the detonator from his hands. The bomb's trigger was disabled. Deadpool turned to Batman and grinned. "Right on time, Batboy. We were almost about to destroy the city." Batman looked at Joker and spoke firmly. "This game is over, Joker. I won't let you take chaos any further." Joker paused at Batman's words, then began to laugh maniacally. "Oh, Batman, do you think you've won? The real game starts now. There's no turning back." At that moment, a massive flash of light erupted in the sky. The energy from Joker's bombs had opened a portal. But this portal was not just what Joker had wanted. An uncontrollable wave of chaos began to pull both Joker and everything around them inside. Batman and Deadpool quickly pulled back, trying to distance themselves from the chaos. Meanwhile, Joker was being pulled into the chaos, laughing maniacally and shouting, "Ah ha 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 ha! I won!" Chaos never ends. This is just the beginning. As the portal closed, Joker vanished amid the lights. The square was suddenly engulfed in silence. Deadpool stared at the spot where Joker had disappeared, shaking his head in disbelief. Well, what do we do now? Where did that guy go? After a moment of pause, Batman replied in a cold voice. He returned to where chaos began. But not in this world. Deadpool, looking thoughtful, muttered, So next time, we'll need to break space-time too. Awesome. Another adventure awaits. Batman turned to Deadpool, nodding silently as he began to walk away. This is not just an ending. Joker will return, and chaos will start again. Deadpool shrugged and winked. Well, what can I say? It was fun teaming up with you, Batman. Maybe next time we grab a coffee before the explosions.